Hey, welcome back to Real Talk with Sadie. I'm your host, Sadie Ingen. You can follow me on Instagram at SadieNLA96. You can listen to this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at Real Talk with Sadie. And I also record these on YouTube, so feel free to check it out. Just go to SadieNLA96. I have another special guest, so get ready. All right, so one of my favorite feel good movies ever, I mean ever, is called Catherine Called Birdy, and it's written and directed by Lena Dunham. Absolutely incredible. And this film stars Bella Ramsey, Edward Scott, Joe Alywn, and Isis Hainsworth. And it's about a young girl named Catherine, aka Birdy, and her family is in a financial crisis. And to restore some hope, Catherine must be wedded off to a wealthy suitor. But her boldness, her independence, and wit throughout the journey is just very, very entertaining. If you need a good laugh, but also want some heartfelt and some cries, definitely go watch it. You can just watch it on Prime Video. But there are also some other wildly talented cast members in this film that you may have not heard of, but today you will know one of their names. So I welcome Michael Woolfitt to my podcast, who plays Birdy's heart brother, Perkin. Perkin is just a really lovable character, full of kindness, joy, and playfulness. And so that bond that Birdy and Perkin have is very special, and you will absolutely want to be Perkin's best bud too. And the kicker of this all, I kid you not, this is Michael's very first film. Like, are you joking? So, welcome, Michael. Thank you for joining me. How are you today? Can you hear
No
me
worries.
okay?
Thank you for having me. Very honoured to be invited onto your podcast. Yeah.
I'm very excited. And have you done a podcast before?
So I've never done a podcast before. This is my first podcast.
I'm so excited for you. You sound fantastic already. And you told me you're 19 years old, so you have a whole life ahead of you in the film industry. But congratulations, this movie was incredible. I guess it was how many years ago now? You filmed it during the pandemic, so we're looking at what, 3 years?
So I auditioned in 2019, so the
Yeah.
year before the pandemic, and then got delayed, and then we filmed 2021.
Wow. So you are not even, so you're 19 now. So you're quite young. So congrats. And I know
Thank you.
you're based in the UK. What do you love about living in the United Kingdom?
So there's many things I don't like, but some of the things I absolutely adore. We have lots of lovely countryside out here in the UK. There's so many places where you can just go and breathe, um,
Yeah.
and you can just be by yourself.
I love that. And what part of the UK? I know there's like the south and north. Are you close to London?
So I'm currently living in London at the minute, but I'm from about an hour outside of London driving time. So
Okay.
yeah.
I've interviewed a few people in the UK. It's funny, I've only interviewed one person from the United States, but everyone else has been living in the UK or in Canada, which is unique. And I have to go to the UK one day. I really, really, really just want to
Sure.
see the countryside. So yeah, that's fantastic. And my first question for you is when you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So when I was really young, there's kind of two different answers to this. When I was really young, the dream, kind of the same with every kind of young boy out here in the UK, is to be a footballer, obviously. And then I realised that I'm nowhere near talented enough to be a footballer.
Oh
So
man.
then then it changed when I was about 7 or 8. I went along to amateur theatre and then fell in love.
Ah, football. It's soccer here. I was a huge soccer football player ever since I was
Yeah,
5, and I was a forward and I was a midfield. It was great. Um,
yeah.
that's too bad. And are you pretty tall?
I'm What am I? I'm 5'10", 5'11", so I'm not
Yeah,
tall
yeah.
tall, I'm just average height.
Okay. Because I was thinking maybe basketball could have been your other passion for sport. No, that's great though. And so, when did the thought of becoming an actor come to mind then, if you couldn't be a football star? How old are you?
So, I was about 7 or 8, and I just my great-grandfather, he was a well-known actor, and I watched something that he was in, and I never knew him, but
Oh,
it was quite exciting, that idea of, yeah, why can't I do it?
wow. And that's very like close to home. It wasn't like some big celebrity in Hollywood. It was your great grandfather.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
incredible. Oh, I'm gonna see that film. And so what captivated you? Was it the acting? Was it the cinematography? What can you share?
It was almost the stories that I've been told by my, my family, rather than his success on the screen. It was the fun and the enjoyment of it behind the scenes that kind of pushed
Oh,
me towards taking it seriously.
oh, that's awesome. So acting from a young age is something that you wanted to pursue. This is like your career. You're not doing anything else, right? Acting is like your goal, your dream.
Yeah, yeah, I would say there's plenty of side things. For example, I'm absolutely in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know if people will know what that is, but I've done that for about 7 years, and I'm also a poet as well. So I write poetry.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful. So
but
you're well-rounded.
the profession is definitely acting though. That's where I want to be,
Okay.
kind of in the future.
Yeah, I know a little bit of your poetry and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But that's great that you can write and maybe one day you can even write your own film. Have you ever thought about that?
I have and I haven't. I'm so focused on on trying to be successful first. I mean,
Of
what is
course.
success? But
Yeah, what is
yeah.
success? I think you're very successful right now. Seriously. But no, keep it up. So, you mentioned your great grandfather's film kind of introduced you into the film industry. But do you have a personal favorite film or a TV show that really admired you?
I do, and it's not necessarily because of the acting, but I am a
Okay.
massive Lord of the Rings fan.
Heck yeah. Like
Absolutely
beyond.
obsessed. Watch it every weekend.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic. Great answer. Great choice. Have you been to New Zealand to see the Hobbit areas?
I'm going in 2 years.
Okay. Oh, 2 years. That's very
Yeah,
specific. I love that.
yeah, lots of planning.
Oh, that's
Lots
gonna
of
be
planning.
check that off the bucket list. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
great answer. So, as a kid, did you go to drama school or theater school? Is that something you did?
No, so when I was younger, out here in the UK, we call it state schools. So I just went to a regular school,
Okay.
and then I started doing amateur theatre, and then out of nowhere, just I kind of just met an agent, and then that's how it started. But I was never pushed into like a specific drama school or anything like that.
Interesting. Everyone has different stories too on how they kind of get their foot in the door. So yeah, you went to state school here in the United States. We call it public school. Same thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes they just had like a free theater program. You won't believe this. I was a business major in college, so nothing
Wow.
in acting. However, when I was in sixth grade, there was the Alice in Wonderland play, and I had really buck teeth as a kid, like super buck teeth, and I was the rabbit. And I remember just doing my lines of I'm late for a very important date. And it was so terrifying. So I can commend anyone who can get up and present in front of a camera or in an audience. Wow. So can you tell me one of your first theater performances?
So the first ever amateur theatre I did was Bugsy Malone. I played Bugsy,
Oh yeah.
um, and then after that it was just loads of very bad pantomimes.
Hey, you got to start somewhere though. Oh, and
Exactly.
do you are you a person who gets nervous before you go on, or are you a pretty confident person?
So I wouldn't say I'm pretty confident, but I'm able to tune out the nerves. So
Sure.
I'm not stood backstage shaking for getting my lines, but I'm not walking out thinking I'm the best thing since sliced bread. So
Okay. Very good. So let's just jump right into your first big film, Catherine Called Birdy. I guess just before that, how many projects or gigs have you done before getting your role? as Perkin?
Um, so before I got the role, before I actually filmed the role of Perkin, I was invited to do quite a lot of educational things, short films, stuff like that.
Very good.
And then I ended up doing one or two, and then after that, it was in the UK we call it sixth form. So you're doing your
Mhm.
A levels. I don't know what that equates to.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so then that was obviously the focus because when you tell your parents you want to be an actor, they suddenly freeze up and go, "Make sure you've got a backup."
Of course, that is so typical too. Even when people say, "I want to be a comedian, mom," they're like, "What?" Okay, but that's very good. So you mentioned that you had an agent at a young age, right? Is that how it led up to the role for Perkin? I want to hear everything about it. So,
So,
who told you about the role?
so I met this agent when I was about 11 or 12. And I kind
Hmm.
of bumped into them just literally in a coffee shop because I think they forgot something and I ran out the coffee shop and I gave it to them. And then I got talking with them and then they said, "Oh, I'm an agent," and I was like, "Oh, I want to be an actor." So I did a couple of testing stuff, and they signed me. And then I went about 4 years without ever hearing anything from them ever.
Oh, crickets.
Um,
No.
exactly. And then all of a sudden, I get this email out of nowhere saying, "Hey, there's this film that's coming out. Nina Gold wants to audition you for this role. We think you'd be great." Um, so then it was originally meant to be a self-tape, and then I
Mhm.
actually got in contact with Lena, who's the director, and I said to her, "I'd love to actually do this in front of you." Um,
Wow.
so then so then obviously she wasn't there, but she sent, one of the casting people, and I managed to kind of squirm my way into an in-person audition.
Okay, you're a networking fiend. That is impressive because, well, was it 2019? Is this
Yeah,
pre-pandemic?
2019, yeah.
Okay, so in person was fine because I know a lot of
Yeah,
people auditioned over self-tape because of the pandemic. But that,
yeah,
to me, Michael, shows confidence and bravery, and you're gonna go for it. So in person's, I think, really crucial too because it helps build that connection and they can kind of see you for who you are. Yeah, because self-tape seems harder.
yeah.
Wow, good for you. And so what, do you remember the lines or the script that you auditioned with?
So, just reading through some of the stuff, I've seen, it was the lines where it was the big scene where Birdy was telling Perkin, "Oh, please marry me." That was the scene that
Okay.
I auditioned with.
Yeah, that's a powerful scene, and I have a question about that we can talk later about.
Cool.
And when you read the script, did you connect with Perkin in a way? What made you really like the character? Because it of course, when it's your first big film, you kinda wanna say yes to everything, but did it just jump off the page for you?
I genuinely believe that it was written for me, because it was just this kind, loving, funny character
Yes.
who was just authentically themselves, but a little inside information. The character had some kind of disability, um, and I myself have a very mild case of cerebral palsy.
Wow.
And for me, it was just that tiny detail that allowed me to go, yeah, I connect with this character. I can see myself as this character.
That's really beautiful, Michael, truly. Oh, that is really warming, and thank you for sharing that and being a little bit
No.
vulnerable today. That's what here to listen to that. So that's fantastic. So you auditioned in person, and how long did it take for you to hear back? And how did you feel knowing that you got the role of Perkin?
So yeah, I auditioned in person and I left the building and thought nothing of it because at the
Sure.
time it was my first audition. I was just this excited little kid running about. So
Yep.
I didn't think anything of it. Then 2 weeks later, I'm in the middle of some kind of history class, and I get a call from my agent saying, check your emails." And they're like, I see an email saying, "We'd love to have you for a table read of the script with the rest of the cast." So then I went to the table read. I met Bella and I met everyone that was there, and it was really lovely. And then I left again because of my ignorance. I didn't really understand what a table read was, so I kind of just walked away thinking that was fun. And then I got a call half an hour later saying they'd love to offer you the role. So
Oh, you did so good. Oh, congrats. How did were you like starstruck? Were you nervous? Did you have any regrets or you're like, "Oh yeah, this is so me."
so I think I cried for about 3 hours of pure joy. Um, it was magical. There was a lot building up to that moment in my life, so I was over the moon.
Oh, of course. And how did your family react?
My mum cried, and then the rest of the family was well, the family that I told anyway,
Mhm.
were just in shock. So yeah,
Absolutely. And that's funny that you mentioned kind of getting up from the table read. There is so much language because I started this podcast about the film and entertainment industry, and I'm trying to learn the language too of actors, knowing your mark, and there's just so much going into it. So I guess we'll talk about it in just a little bit, but I'm sure it can be daunting on a set, and you're working with people who have been in the industry for quite some time. Did you have imposter syndrome?
massively. My first day on set was with Bella Ramsey,
Hmm.
Andrew Scott, and Billy Piper. So you've got these three absolutely, especially in the UK, ginormous named actors who are
Of
just
course.
well known everywhere, and then me standing in the corner with my stick and my little limp.
But you did that, and I just can't wait to hear more about that. So, tell me more about you learning the etiquette on a big set. Is there something that you took away from that? And did you have to learn the language as you go and like know your mark or action? Tell me more about that. Just love your perspective on it.
So I was very fortunate where I had quite a lot of help from um, one of my drama teachers at my school,
Hmm.
and I spoke with Bella in depth for hours upon end about how a set works, stuff like that. The
Right.
one thing that I was very unaware of is that when you get cast in a role like that, everything is done for you.
Ah,
And that was the big surprise for me because I went there carrying a packed lunch and a bottle of water that I'd made in the hotel room before,
I
and
love
they're like,
that.
"Oh, my," and they're like, "Oh, can we get you this? Can we get you that?" And I was like, "No, it's all right. I'll do this. I'll do that." And it took me a while to kind of learn that they weren't being really polite. It was their job, and
Yeah,
it
craft
took me a while to
services.
get used to that.
Yes, it's almost like a luxury in a way. I was a PA and I also did the craft services and yeah, pretty much everything is handed to the actors. You're there to do your job. You don't need to worry about what time you're going to eat. Yeah, you just focus on the acting and everything else kind
Yeah.
of comes into play. So that's very cool. And so how about call times too? That's a thing on set, right? Where how do you know
Yeah.
when you're going to go and
Yeah.
get ready
So
for your
every
role?
every day, you kind of this sounds so pretentious. You kind of get driven to your trailer, you get taken into your trailer, and there's a call sheet on the table for you, and they have all the times of whenever the actors are supposed to be there, which never gets stuck to. You're always delayed by because of something.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and then it just tells you everything you need, but it doesn't really matter. There's someone to come and get you and take you there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen a couple of interviews with Lena and Bella, and they talk about the weather. Can you share? Was it actually cold? Like, what time of the season was it? And do you remember being really cold? I'd love to hear any funny stories about that.
So there was so many times where it was just absolutely pouring it down.
Oh man.
I'd wake up at four in the morning, walk out my hotel room, get soaked with rain.
Oh,
Um, but we were actually quite lucky with the weather because we filmed in the spring, but somehow we managed to get all four seasons in the space of 5, 6 weeks. We managed to get a really sunny couple of days. We
Huh?
managed to get snow on a couple of days. It was absolutely crazy.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine that. And there's a scene in the very beginning. Is it Russell Brand, you and Bella, and it's like the first suitor. And I believe you're shirtless because you just have taken a bath in the river. I was like, how cold was it? I would have been freezing. Do you remember that scene? And how long were
It
you
was
shirtless for? How many
it
scenes
was
would it take?
so cold.
Yeah,
So cold.
I knew it was gonna be cold, and I was watching. I'm like, you're handling it well. I can't couldn't even see goosebumps. But how
Yeah.
many takes did you have to do for that? Can you remember?
So we ended up doing about 4 or 5 takes, and
Oh,
I kind of turned up being this kid from just normal England. So
of
everyone was
course.
telling me on the way down, "Oh, don't get too wet. If you need a jump or anything, just let us know." So I kind of rocked up to the river, and the director of photography, the DP, said, "Oh, do you want to make this look really good?" And I said yes, and then he said, "Just go for it." So I covered myself in about 2 liters of ice cold river water. Um, just and it ended up looking quite good, so I was happy with it.
Oh, very immersive. Such a great scene. And for you, I know you're still new in this industry, but there's so many, I guess, methods of acting and becoming your true character. What is something that you did to really hone in on Perkin's role? You did mention that you did see a little bit of yourself in him, but what did you do to really prepare yourself for the role?
So my personal opinion on it is that if you want to try and act a scene well, you should be focusing on the other person. So my prep for Perkin was essentially establishing the character relationships of everyone he's in contact with. So I worked a lot on flushing out his relationship with Birdy, obviously, that
Mhm.
and just really trying to in some way link it to myself. I know that sounds a bit silly, but I feel like it just helps you connect with the role a bit more if I can picture Birdy as say one of my close friends or someone I'm, really in love with. Then
Right.
yeah.
Of course. And I could see that too on the film. It just kind of came effortlessly. Truly. I was shocked when it was your first film, and I don't know if it's talked about a lot. The reason why I discovered that it was your first role because it was, an interview at the premiere, and I think actually Bella shouted you out, praising you that that was your first film, and it was just unbelievable. So, that's really great, and leaving set, did you have Perkin with you a lot in your heart? Any little quirks that you brought with you after set?
Um, so yeah, when leaving set was a tough day for me because I'd jumped into this character and I kind of just gone full force.
You
And it
did.
was the most exciting experience. And then before I could even blink, it was over.
I know.
Um, and
Ugh.
it was heartbreaking. But in the end, I managed to walk away with as the character. I used to walk around with the stick that I have in the big scene with me and Birdie. And I
Mhm.
managed to get that off the prop guy before I left, so
Oh,
I was
very
very
good.
happy.
Very good, because I know sometimes props are very limited to the network that, is helping with the film. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. So your friendship is mostly with Birdie. I love that friendship. It's called Heart's Brother, which is very sweet. And to me, the relationship on camera just seemed effortless, and not forced at all. Was that the same in person with you and Bella?
Yeah, absolutely. Bella's an amazing person. There was something so genuine and authentic. The first time I met Bella was at the table read, and I was stood there in the corner really nervous. She just came straight over,
Hmm.
introduced herself, and messaged me on Instagram, made sure I was okay, helped me prep for the character. And Bella is one of the most genuinely kind, authentic people I've ever met. Bella's amazing.
That's really great. And it's nice to know that the people that you're surrounded with are, like I said, have been in this industry for quite some time, but it seems like they all made you feel really welcomed, and just comforting. And did Lena also help you? Because obviously she's the director. Um, what advice can you share that Lena gave you that stuck with you? And Bella.
So there was quite a few people that really helped me on set. You have Bella, obviously. Um, I'll talk about Lena in a second. There
Sure.
was the person who played Robert Dean Chapman. He helped me a tremendous amount because obviously a lot of the time Bella was filming or she was on set somewhere, and Dean and I kind of had very similar timings in terms of the amount of time on and offset. So I
Wow.
got speaking with him a tremendous amount, and he really just helped me, if this makes sense, breathe into what it's like to be into a film set and be on
Wow.
camera. And so he was absolutely incredible. I got on especially well with absolutely all the cast members, but Dean and Bella especially. And
Mm.
then Lena, yeah, Lena. So I got the role, and then in the build up to the filming of it, she video called me, and I've never felt so welcomed by someone so quickly. She spoke to me as if that I was her nephew that she'd known for years, and it was
Oh,
just so lovely and heartwarming because she could kind of tell that I was this kind of ugly duckling, just stranded, a little bit isolated from kind of understanding what's going on. She just looked after me as if she was my mum. It was just incredible.
oh, that really really helped you. I'm sure you felt the love. That makes a huge difference because I think it might not be the case for every film you work with. It could be more of a hostile environment, or you just never know. So, what a lucky experience for you, especially because it's your first film. So, thank you for sharing that. All right. Tell me your most memorable part. Most, I can't even speak. Most memorable part on set.
The most memorable day was probably the river scene when we did it with Russell Brand because the whole time I couldn't stop laughing. Um, and this is going to make me sound a bit silly, but half of the takes we probably couldn't use because I was literally couldn't stop laughing. I was in bits all the time. And there was this one moment where we read through the script and then we did a practice take and it was just completely different, completely off script, and it was just fun. It was just so much fun.
Oh, I love that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes because um, it's the third ear where back of the neck, and Russell goes, "Is it functional? Like who cares?" Oh, and
Oh
so,
dear.
oh my gosh, such a fantastic scene, and you survived the cold during that too. Okay,
Yes, just
great,
about.
great answer. And a question for you, because you were laughing so much, were you nervous that oh no, I'm uh, just making a fool out of myself because of the etiquette, or is everyone having a good laugh too? It's not just you.
For me, afterwards, absolutely. When I watched the film back, I was
Mhm.
I was sat there critiquing myself, going, "Should have done this
Oh,
better."
of course.
But during the actual filming, because I was such a kind of young buck just out there, I had so much fun with it. I didn't actually think, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't embarrass yourself." I was just able to be myself, which
Perfect.
was something that I think it's so easy for especially young actors to get so wrapped up in they have to be this professional. Um, so yeah, I'm just grateful that I was able to be myself.
That's beautiful answer, and that's great, and it's your personality. Like a lot of the Perkin you see on camera, I think that's your true self. Like just talking to you now, you're super charismatic, you're super kind and genuine. So yeah, fantastic role. So what was the hardest part for you on set? Truly the hardest. And can you share a specific memory too?
So the hardest part for me on set was kind of having to remember that I'm there to be a good actor. And I know it sounds silly, but
No,
there
it
were so
doesn't.
many times where I'd get so wrapped up in the excitement of, oh, I'm filming with Bella Ramsey with Lena Dunham, and the scene where I tell Birdy that she can't marry me because I'm a homosexual.
Hmm.
She I remember hearing the word cut and just going, I could have done that so much better.
Mm,
And yeah, that and it really kind of made me reflect because that was one of my last days on set,
mm.
on location anyway. And it really made me go away and reflect on how serious, and it helped me just focus on my career a bit more, which was useful.
Yeah. And you know what? That's one of like the most powerful scenes I think it's towards the end. And yeah, it's a very serious moment. And the movie, is so lighthearted in ways. So I could see why that could kind of get in your head because it is a darker scene and there's no laughing about for that. But yeah, it's a takeaway. And I think there's challenges, but you learn and grow from that, and it does make you into a better actor. So that's a
Yeah.
great one. Um, and what's like your most favorite scene? I think you mentioned like the Russell Brand, but is there any other scenes that you loved?
So my personal favorite is when Birdie starts snorting with the pig,
Oh,
and you
Jiminy!
have yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful scene because I genuinely don't think anyone could do it quite like Bella did.
It's so great. And I think I've seen some interviews where a lot of the actors could be creative and maybe have improv and just have a lot of flexibility. Is that something that you were able to do, or did you kind of just keep straight to the script because this is a first go for you?
So yes and no, we were made to feel so welcome and so kind of free on
Hmm.
set that when we were given a script or something, if we just felt that something was maybe better, then we were kind of given the green light to just experiment and just play, which was lovely.
Hmm. I like that. And then, so my favorite scene is actually the part where Birdie is begging you to marry her, and yeah, you don't want to marry you, or you don't want to marry her, you don't want to marry any girl in Stonebridge, and Birdie goes, "Oh, so you want to marry a guy instead?" And then it's silent. And I feel like the silence in that is so loud. Um, and there's really no conversation about being gay, but it's definitely implied. And I love that. I support the LGBTQ plus community. I'm part of that. Um, and so when you read that for the script, was that pretty evident, or did it take you a while to realize he is a gay character?
So throughout the script, it's not really, driven as much because obviously it's a story about so many important things. And I feel like they did a really good job at not having it in there for the sake of having it in there, but having it in there just as a little it was a little bonus almost, I feel. And I
Yeah.
think for me, when I was first reading it, um, it was kind of difficult to understand. So I spoke to a lot of people who were close friends of mine who were involved in the LGBTQI plus community, who were maybe homosexual, who had thought they might have been, etc. Because I didn't want to ruin that, even if it was just for me, because it might not have been clear on screen. But to have that in your soul as an actor, I feel like it's really important to make sure you remember the character you're playing. And even if the character doesn't show everything, it's important to just have that internally.
Hmm. I think that's a beautiful answer. Yeah, agreed. And I like that too. You said a bonus. Um it's not the main storyline at all. But yeah, it's simply just implied at the end, which I really like. The whole story of coming of age as a young person, Um, and back then, it's a medieval. I guess is it medieval times? But some of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
yes, but some of the points are still so prevalent today, which is nice to see. And there's so many problems that we are still facing today. But
yeah.
let's talk about the premiere because you finished the movie, you wrapped on set, you did it, and it does take time for the film to be edited and to finally to be out for everyone. So when you got to attend the premiere in your fancy suit, how did you feel? Was that a surreal moment?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense it was very enjoyable to be there, but for me, I'd I'd spent that year and a half in between filming and the premiere working normal jobs, working in
Hey,
normal shops, just trying to understand what it's like to have a normal life, um,
sure.
or a day-to-day life. And so then to go to the premiere, there was no kind of feeling of, "Oh, I'm Michael Woolfitt, I'm this star." I was just kind of there to answer questions and have a good laugh with my sister. So that was
Hey,
lovely for me.
that is nice too. And you do get a little bit of break from filming to the premiere. So you go back into your the day in the life of Michael. But maybe you'll
Yeah.
start being recognized now. Um, are you current
Well,
do you have your own day-to-day job right now that you're doing
so at the minute
freelancing?
I'm at drama school, so
Right.
I'm I'm working about 10 hours a day, about 8 o'clock till 6 o'clock.
Wow.
Um, yeah, long
That's
days.
impressive. Very long days. And
But no, yeah, sorry.
no, you're good. Um, good for you. I bet you're learning so much. In drama school, you do it on the weekends, you were saying too?
No, so drama school is Monday to Friday, and then
Oh, it's actually
I
a school. Yeah, educate me
yeah,
on that.
yeah.
I
So
think that's so cool.
no, no. So drama school in the UK is I feel like it's the equivalent of college for you guys. If okay, here's a good example. If you were to say I got into Harvard to go do a degree,
Uh-huh.
obviously not the same level as Harvard, but in terms of the time you'd spend, it would be you'd go away and do like a 3, 4 year degree course. So
Got it.
it's like a proper, for us, university. I don't know about you guys.
Okay.
Might be college degree or something.
Yeah. A lot of people in the States will get a theater degree, like a Bachelor of Arts,
Yeah,
BA,
yeah,
Bachelor of
yeah,
Arts.
yeah.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for educating me. So let's just talk about your future career goals. Um, are you a kind of a yes man, or do you want to like be picky with the scripts that are given to you? Like, what types of roles and genres are you like most interested in, and why?
So I've never been one to be picky or ignorant with work, I'll
Sure.
say. Because obviously as an actor, you wanna just be successful no matter how that is. But a
Hmm.
little personal dream of mine, I personally love films that allow you to relive your childhood. So whether that's children's films or classic films. So I just want to be involved in films. I don't know if you've ever seen them. I'm a personal fan of the Narnia films.
Oh, very much
Um,
so. Oh
I
yeah.
absolutely love the Narnia films
Hmm.
because not because I think the films are incredible, they are, but it's more because it allows me to sit there and go, "Oh, I feel like a child again."
Yeah.
Um, so anything like that really. I'd love to do children's films or feel good films, romantic films, just something that allows you to sit there and go, "I feel 18, 17
Yeah.
again."
Those nostalgic feelings because yeah, time goes by so fast, and so yeah, those movies speak to me as well. I love those feel good ones. You know what? I'm gonna watch Narnia again. I know Liam Neeson. Neeson, right? He plays the lion. Oh, what a
Yeah.
fantastic movie! I've not watched that in a long time. Hey, did you read the books too?
So I've read the books that have films, but I've not read the other books that
Okay,
don't have films.
me neither. Okay. Um, so because you're so young and you're still an up and coming actor, can you share like any of any big obstacles that you face? as an upcoming actor? It can be anything mentally. Yeah, just share any big obstacles that you face.
think- I think one of the main things is being able to deal with that kind of pressure. When
Yeah.
I talk about pressure, I don't necessarily mean the pressure to do well but there are, with a lot of things, if you work hard, you can achieve them. With a lot of careers, with a lot of ideologies, if you want to be a great podcaster, you can, for example, you can put out a podcast, started 2 months ago, you put out, message loads of people, try and get people involved.
Mm-hmm.
But with singing, acting, painting, lots of things that are very creative, for me, I personally believe that you have to have a certain level of talent. And I feel like it's so easy to get wrapped up in the emotion of you don't think you're talented enough
Mm-hmm.
at all, because it's such a talent driven industry that the second you stop, you feel like you don't have the talent, it stops your work ethic, and it stops your mental ability to wake up and go, let's try and improve as an actor or as a person. And I feel like the pressure can get to you so easily.
Mm.
You become almost fragile, to the sense where the second something goes wrong outside of acting, it can so easily affect the inside because of the pressure that you're under to constantly be doing well.
Wow. That is so true, and you really spoke on that beautifully. Thank you, Michael. Wow. You don't think I never really thought about it, of course. So yeah, that is a big challenge. Um, and I guess the more roles you have, um, you can grow as an actor. Um, but what would you say keeps you grounded? I know you're going to drama school, but I'm sure you can still get in your head. And so, yeah, what keeps you grounded? Do you ever journal your thoughts? And well, you do write poetry, so I guess that's a way of kind of keeping yourself grounded and keeping your head afloat.
So a lot of my thoughts go into my poetry.
Hmm.
Um, it's less because I enjoy it, more because I find it's a good way of letting it all out. But
Yeah.
most of it really is just having the right people around you. I feel like when, especially with social media nowadays, the power of social media
Oh my gosh,
is unimaginable. The
it really
second you
is.
start seeing likes or follows or comments, it can be so easy to get in your head and think that
Hmm.
you're amazing and incredible. And I feel like for me, I'm very lucky. I grew up from just a regular family in England, working class, normal jobs. Everyone around me works a normal job. So on the weekends, I'll go home and
Hmm.
I'll train, or I'll go do some window cleaning,
I love
and I'll
that.
just spend time with some family. And that for me is the best way to kind of stay grounded, because they'll always be honest with you. You don't want to be surrounded by yes men.
I love that answer. That's a great one too. Back to like family roots. Keep yourself grounded, and I think that just helps with your mental health too, being surrounded by your friends and loved ones. So yeah, that's great. Um, and with drama school and working on Catherine Called Birdy, did you have any criticism? Maybe not so bad. You know the word constructive criticism. Did you get that? And how do you handle that? That it scares me. When I get criticized, oh, I hate it. I eat it up for days, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? So yeah, tell me how you handle it.
Well, for me, I don't know. I feel like I deal with criticism quite well, in the sense that I always look at it as constructive, even if someone is just not being very nice, and there's no criticism involved. I always try and look on, not the positive side, but the constructive side. How can I better myself from as many scenarios as possible? So when I'd read the odd article and it would say, because it wasn't my best performance. It was quite over the top. I did a bit too much, especially for camera acting. And
Hmm.
I'm very honest and open about that because I feel like it's just important to kind of learn from and go, okay, that maybe wasn't the best, but you can bet yourself that I'm going to do better next time.
Absolutely. I love that. Good answer. Oh, you're so talented and just so wise for being 19. Where do you who I know now I'm gonna jump to personal questions. Like where do you get your wisdom from truly? Is it just yourself or family, inspirations?
So
I love it.
I'm the way I look at it, I'm quite fortunate. My parents are divorced,
Hmm.
um, but I'm lucky to have two incredible father figures in my life, and as well as my mum, with them three as like a trio, I've been able to kind
Oh.
of just understand all aspects of life because they all come from different backgrounds and they all come from different upbringings. So I'm able to use kind of the wisdom of all three of them
Hmm.
and to kind of mature quite quickly, quite easily, and understand because I've always been self-dependent. I've always worked for my own money, everything like that. So I've always been able to just mature properly and understand the ways of the world from a very young age compared to other people, I feel. So I'm very grateful to have kind of that trio of my stepdad, my dad, and my mum in my life.
Oh, no, that's really, really nice. Yeah, my parents were divorced too. Speaking of like mental health, my mom suffers terribly from bipolar disorder, and my mom actually lives in
Oh,
a group home. And so my grandparents raised me my whole life, and my
yeah,
grandparents like are my rock. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I feel like I had to kind of grow up fast too, and but I was surrounded by really, really great people too. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah, of
Um,
course.
hmm So could you give any advice to any up and coming actors and aspiring actors like yourself? What do you think the biggest advice would be? To give you some examples too, a lot of people say like confidence is one, um, or saying yes to everything. So, what is your advice?
My advice would probably be have an escape.
Oh, I love that answer. No one has said that yet.
Yeah, have an escape. I would say. So for me, I come home from drama school every day. I do my character research. I do all that stuff. And then at the old age of 19 years old, I'll sit down and I'll play video games that are meant for 7-year olds
Yep.
because
Child
they're
at home.
silly, they're
Mm-hmm.
fun, and they're an escape. And I feel this is something that I've been pushing a lot. People are so quick to reach the age of 16 and go, "Oh no, I'm a grown up now. I can't have fun. I need to
I
always
know.
be being an adult and drinking and being sociable." No. If you want to read a book, read a book. If you want to play a video game, play a video game. If you want to go to the beach and run around and build a sandcastle, do that. Have your escape.
I love that answer. It is so, so true too, because we can just, humans by nature, we can get so fixated on our career per se, um, or just, yeah, just kind of focused tunnel vision almost. But yeah, to have an escape and to let yourself just shut off your brain for a little bit. I love your answer. Now, tell me what video games you're talking about. My husband, he's a software engineer and he loves Zelda right now, or The Last of Us, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, that's his escape. How about you?
So for me, it's the Lego games. It's the Lego
Oh, cool.
Batman, the Lego Marvel,
That's awesome.
because they're just easy, they're fun, they're silly, and I'm a massive comic book nerd.
Oh, very good. Okay, great answer. You're killing it with the answers. I love that. So tell me about drama school. Are you able to pursue like feature films auditions, or do you have to, or do you act with performances of drama school? Tell me about that.
So it is the school I'm at is very much like a school. You go in, you have lessons that where you train your craft,
Mm-hmm.
and you have projects and you have plays that you do.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, because of the fact that you're an actor in training officially, the school doesn't let you do auditions. So which personally I find is frustrating because there's so many great opportunities out there. I'd hate to miss out on one,
Yep.
but saying that, it is really useful to be able to go in and just focus 100% on the training and the learning and just being able to walk away every day, go, I've bettered myself today.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's great. And I guess drama school, it's are a lot of the people, the students your age too, and you can build really good friendships from that, and you can learn together and grow together.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I've been so fortunate to make so many good connections as well as good friends, and it does nothing but prepare you well for when you all leave and you're all successful actors.
that's fantastic. So, do you have any upcoming projects that you're working on, and it can be part of the drama school? Anything you'd like to share, that'd be great.
Um, so at the minute in my drama school, we're working on a lot of Shakespeare, which is always fun. Who doesn't
Wow,
love a bit of Shakespeare?
I could see you
Um,
doing that, and just because you're a poet, so I think that's your alley.
yeah,
God, that's hard too. You have to be wise, I feel like, for that.
yeah.
Okay.
But no, I love Shakespeare, but a lot of it is just working on how do we find these emotions and all this stuff, and I'm in the process of working on just some cool projects with the school and
Hmm.
some cool amateur stuff outside, so I'm excited for the future.
Oh, fantastic. I can't wait for your future, and I can't wait to see you in other things. So, yeah, like you mentioned, your goal as an actor, or I guess a role that you want to do is something that is going back to childhood and like being a kid. So I hope a next film that you do is going to be part of that goal. I would say it in a heartbeat. So let's close it out. I have a couple more questions, and this is what I do for everyone. I ask just simple, lighthearted questions. It's just for fun. I love connecting with people, and I think that we're all more similar than we think. So yeah, this is just like rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So, well, you actually told me this. What is your favorite way to unwind and relax when you're not working? Is it games, or do you have any other hobbies
Mm,
that you do?
Um, I write poetry or I go and I train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's probably my favorite one.
That is so cool. And you've been doing it for 7 years, you said? The jitsu?
5 years.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm gonna look that up afterwards because I've heard of karate and taekwondo. Is it kind of in that same realm?
It's a mixed martial art, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Um, and so I do want to mention really quickly, actually, now I'm going backtracking. Your last post was for men's mental health awareness for June, and you are a poet. So, what made you post those beautiful words? And you wrote that yourself. What inspired you to do that?
So I've struggled with my mental health issues, but everyone has.
Mhm.
And as a man, especially in the UK, even though it's getting a lot better, there's still this expectation that we have to be strong and we can't express our feelings. And men,
Mm.
I remember the statistic. I don't know if you want me to read it or would you rather I skipped the statistics or
No, please. Oh, I'm a huge advocate for mental health. Um, am all for it because of my mom, suffering. I'm an advocate for it.
yeah.
So please share. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in the last 5 years, it's something like 33,000 men have killed themselves, and all of them, all their families, every single one was under the bracket of they didn't feel like they could talk to anyone. They felt like they had to be a
Mm,
strong man. And this is not me saying that it can't be Pride Month as well, but it's so easy for Pride Month to kind of overshadow the fact that it is men's mental health because so many people, the amount of messages I got saying I didn't realize June was also men's mental health month. It's unreal the amount
mm,
of men that feel trapped and isolated and that poem was kind of from my own experiences, and the term flashing lights was used to for me to signify the flashing lights of the underground train, what you would call the subway.
Mm-hmm.
But it symbolizes the flash of all your memories and everything you experience before you kind of make a good or bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spoken with so many people, and there's so many people that are just very scared and very isolated in the world. And I just hope that that poem gives them something to kind of cling on to, maybe.
No,
Yeah,
I think so, and you're so right. Yeah, it's mental health is such a prevalent issue today. There's such a stigma around it. It's just unbelievable, and in the United States, there's just not a lot of resources. Um, and you're so right, especially men. They have such a responsibility of being the breadwinner and um, not talking about their emotions. I mean, I have people in my family too who it's hard to open up and to be vulnerable. So for you to share your words and you gave at least some people some hope. I'm sure you got a big outreach after that, huh? Did it feel overwhelming to get feedback? How did that make you feel?
it made me feel happy in the sense that I got a lot of messages, which I won't say what they said, but
No,
there was
no.
a lot of messages just saying thank you.
I love that. Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
a really Oh, it makes me really emotional. Actually, I do you know the Ellen DeGeneres show? And there's the
I
DJ
do.
Twitch.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I actually was dancer of the day for Ellen, and I got to dance with Twitch. It's on my Instagram if you want to see it. And I just posted on my story that I'm always thinking of Twitch because he had this exuberant life and family. Um, Working on the Ellen show, how fun! And he committed suicide. And I,
yeah,
I, I can't speak on that, of course, on his own thoughts, but it may just well be one of the statistics that you mentioned about not being able to express who you are and carrying so much pressure. You just never know.
yeah,
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 so beautiful. I know we got really deep. We can keep going for a few more minutes. Do have some more lighthearted questions. So,
yeah.
but thank you so much, Michael, for sharing that. And maybe we can have more sessions and talk about mental health because I'd love to bring it to the table more because we're young and I
I'd
think
love
people
to.
need to see that. But
Yeah.
let's move on. What is your go-to comfort food or guilty pleasure snack? Yeah, after this
Um,
depressing talk, let's eat some junk food.
comfort food, I would say, sounds silly, but plain pasta and cheese.
Oh yeah, it's so good with butter. That's my
Yeah,
go-to. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Great answer. Can you cook?
Yes, yes, I can cook.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
I love that. Um, okay, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
Iceland,
Oh yeah, I want to go there too so badly.
because of the Northern Lights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll go. You're not that far, right? Isn't Iceland only like two
Yeah,
hours
it's
flight?
very accessible. Very
Yeah,
accessible. I'm lucky.
yeah. I know. Traveling, living in the States, it's so hard to get anywhere. It takes forever. But no, that's a great answer. Um, do you have a skill or hobby that might surprise people?
Um, I can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Hey, my husband actually just learned how to solve a Rubik's cube. I'm gonna say 3 weeks ago, and I hear him do it all. He says he does it like 50 times a day. That's awesome. Do you know your time? He can do a minute
Uh,
30.
my my quickest time is 42 seconds,
No
so not
way.
very quick, but
Do you have it right now?
I do. Let me
Oh
let
my
me
god.
have a look.
Okay.
Let me have
And
a look.
I have to do this. Michael Woolfitt, Rubik's cube. Let's get the record.
I do indeed have
Okay.
my Rubik's Cube with me.
Okay. Will you do it for us?
Yeah, let me mix it up and I'll
Yeah,
just
mix
turn
it
my
up.
mic down.
Oh yeah, good idea. hear beeping. Okay. It won't be that loud. And I can edit it.
Yeah, right. Hold on. Let me just mix up a little bit more.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay, here's the clock. And no pressure. Okay, on your mark, get set,
Yeah.
go. You got this.
There's so much pressure, blimey.
I know. But this is the quirky questions, lightheartedness. You got this. We're at 17 seconds. 22 seconds.
No,
Yeah,
I've
you're
messed it
good.
up. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Okay,
I've
when
messed
it
it
hits
up
42,
completely.
then we'll stop. I'll give you a minute.
Oh, it's all falling apart. I'm not gonna do it, unfortunately. It's all
Okay,
falling
bye.
apart.
Nope, it's fine.
All falling apart.
It's the
Oh
algorithm. It's
dear.
the nerves. Has anyone ever? Sorry, that was a lot of pressure. And thank you for being
Right.
easygoing with that. Next question. That was amazing. Thank you very much. Hey, do you have any pets?
I do. So I've got a dog that's 11 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got another dog which is 1 years old.
Oh wow, that's a big difference. Aw, do they
Yeah.
get along?
So the 11 years old is my dad's dog, and
Mm-hmm.
the 1 year old is my mum's dog.
Oh,
So
I
they live
see.
separately.
Okay, no worries. But that's
Yeah,
that's awesome. We have two
they're
cats.
my
Are you a
world.
cat person? Don't
I'm
you
I'm
dare.
not a cat person. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm not a massive fan of cats. I don't dislike them. I'm
No,
just
that's
not
fine.
not a huge
Yeah,
fan.
I'm a cat person. One because we like to travel, so I just leave them
Yeah.
at home, give them give them bowls of food. But no problem. We're not friends anymore. Okay. What is a book
Uh,
or movie that has a profound impact on your life?
so I've already said Lord of the Rings um, and Narnia films,
Yeah.
but if I wanted to get quite personal, I'll probably say Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of weight to it for me. So Star
Yeah.
Wars, yeah.
Good answer. I love that. Now, have you gone to well, I guess you haven't gone to Disneyland in California. They have really great Star Wars land. You would love it. Absolutely love it. Maybe one day.
One day.
Yep. Now, I know we talked about like your goal of wanting to act in like a childhood nostalgic kind of movie, but can you tell us about a personal dream or goal that you just haven't yet achieved? And it can be a small goal, it can be 10 years from now, but any goal that you just haven't achieved yet.
So I would love to do a feature film with what's her name? With Tilda Swinton, who plays the White Witch,
Yes,
and Michael Caine. I would love to do a feature film with those two.
that is great. And she was also in Doctor Strange, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I love Doctor Strange. That's great. You will achieve that. I know you will. Well, there's only a few more questions. Three more. If you could
It's
have
all good.
dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would it be and why?
This is gonna be quite out there. I would probably go Gandhi
I
because I
love
would
it.
love to hear his story. I would
Yes.
love to hear what happened, his journey, everything. I'd
Yeah.
be really interested.
Oh, I think you would have a great conversation. I feel like he would love your poetry too. Like you would share your stuff with him too, and he would just like go deeper and analyze that in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good answer. I love it. Okay. What is something you're passionate about outside of work? I know you mentioned that you do like your Brazilian jitsu, but yeah, anything else that you're passionate about besides acting?
Uh, Hiking. I love hiking. So long walks, walking through the woods, walking up hills, walking up mountains. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Do you like the nature too? Just getting outdoors?
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Uh-huh. Do you ever go camping? Is camping a thing in the UK? Camping's
Yeah,
so big
yeah.
in the United States. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, camping's a big thing. I love camping.
Yeah, I haven't done it in so
Yeah.
long. Okay, that's a great answer too. And then lastly, what are some things that just make you feel happy or fulfilled in life?
So I'll give you a very basic answer. Whenever I'm on the tube, which is the equivalent of the subway, every morning, I'll have music in my ears, and it'll be really classical instrumental music. And the thing that brightens my day every day is I always get on the same tube as this elderly couple, and every morning I sit there and I watch them talk and I watch them smile, and just seeing that people smile and people have that relationship without any sound or context is just beautiful. I just love it.
Oh, that's really heartfelt. What beautiful answers. So, Michael, you have done big things and you're just on the up and up. So, congratulations to you. And um, when do you graduate drama school?
So I graduate in 2 years, so 2025.
Okay, that's great. Yay. And then after that, once you graduate, do you kind of work with the agency? Is that how it works?
So during our final year, we will put on shows which agents can come and watch, and they will
Cool.
decide whether they want to sign us or not.
Awesome. Oh, I can't wait to see more from you. And lastly, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Michael Woolfitt Official. That's the only social media I use.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. You're so wise and so fun and charming and just vulnerable. So thank you for your time today, Michael. Um, I just can't wait to see where you go. And I had so much fun. And everyone, go follow Michael, please. He's incredible. And watch him be Perkin and Catherine Called Birdy on Prime Video. Thank you so much again. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sadie. Thank you.